Welcome. I'm glad you're here with us. My name is Dr. Alice Reid, and I'm the spiritual leader here at Center for Spiritual Living. I'm not Melissa Suzanne, as your monitor says to you. and I'm here to share with you some of the things that have come up for me this week as we have sort of preparing ourselves for a grand adventure. I heard Reverend Judy this morning talk about the emotion that came up for her. It's interesting. I wasn't with you as a community when we purchased this building. And yet I have some attachment already. I feel some attachment to this place. It's been my spiritual home. You've been my spiritual family for this many years, as I've been here with you for 3.5 years now. And so I guess it was Friday, we had the company that came out to remove the sign from the building. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. Let me go see what that looks like. And I kind of trot outside, and I look up, and my heart did a little flip. Did a little flip as I watched it coming down, like something began to sink in at a little deeper level. Anybody having this kind of experience? Yeah. I want to honor that experience in you. It doesn't mean that you're not willing to take this journey with us. It just means that it's time for us to do that, the conscious work of moving through change, And so I'm grateful to be part of a philosophy that encourages me to be conscious when I have to move through things that are uncomfortable or difficult or challenging or wonderful or all of the above. And so just a little update. We, in case you haven't heard, we have sold the building here, this beautiful building that we've been in for 13 years, and we are closing escrow on April 17th. And so, so that's great news. That's great news. This building was a labor of love. It was bought as a stepping stone for this community as we were trying to find the right and perfect place to be. And it will provide us with some financial resources as we go on this next journey. So we have 3 more Sundays. That's correct. After today. So we have March 3rd, actually 3, including today, March 13th, 30th, April 6th, and April 13th. Those will be our last services here. On April 20th, which is Easter Sunday, we will be meeting at the Baha'i Center. And that we have little cards and flyers. We'll be calling people who haven't been here for a while. We'll try to scoop everybody up to let you know where we're going. We'll be meeting at the Baha'i Center on Sundays. And we'll have some weekday space that's a little further north. On April 20th will be our first service there. On April 27th, we have an opportunity to experience how another faith does community. And so the Baha'i community does a wonderful experience that they call Soul Journey. They have their musicians and spoken word. And so we will join them as participants on April 27th. Yeah. We will open our hearts and open our minds to differences. We will celebrate and honor how we're different, and we will celebrate the things that we have in common. And this is what the world needs right now. The world needs us to honor those places where we find ourselves on common ground and to celebrate our differences as well. And so we're going to really walk it out. Now, the Baha'is meet in this way, this thing called Soul Journey. They've been doing it every month or so. All of their folks are volunteers, so their schedule's has a little more flexibility than ours, and as we get those dates, we'll let you know. But we will be together as community every Sunday morning at Baha'i. Every Sunday morning. And most Sunday mornings you'll see our wonderful music minister and the songbirds and our band. You'll see me and the practitioners and the ministers on the platform. And then once in a while, will enjoy the soul journey experience with the Baha'i. So I'm really excited about this stretch that we're doing. And somebody walked up to me that we had a parking lot sale yesterday. Who checked it out? Yeah, let me just see the volunteers. That's it. Yeah, you people rock. It was a labor of love, and it was a lot of fun. And there was some, again, like the sign coming down, there were things that I watched like leave our ownership, and I could feel my heart, tugging a little bit. I had some arguments because I didn't want to let go, and I think it was Gina who turned to me and said, "Oh yeah, you got to let go and let God." And I said, "No, I got to let go and let Dan." He's been through this kind of thing a lot, and so he's showing us the way of how to be unattached. You don't know this about them. He's very Buddhist in that way. And so we are moving through change. It is real time here, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to do it consciously. And so I'm going to invite you to do something right now, because change is not easy for everyone, right? It's kind of hard. So I want you to, don't do it just yet, but I'm going to want you to turn to your neighbor, and I want you to say to your neighbor, whoever's sitting near you, "I got you." Let's do that. I got you. And what that means, I got you. And what that means is we will support each other through this change. I got you. Our beautiful assistant minister and music minister, we got you. Our practitioners, we got you. And we're gonna hold you up a little bit later in our morning celebration. I just want you to remember that. And I came across this beautiful, it's attributed to Rumi, and it's about communication, and it's called the 3 gates. So when we're communicating about all this change, right, you may not know all the details. You might be trying to fill in the blanks. And so the 3 gates that are so beautiful, they emphasize the importance of mindful and compassionate communication. And the first gate is it true? Do you know what you're sharing is true and accurate? Ask yourself that question, because there's a lot of talk and things going around, and we want to be mindful about that. That's one of the practices that we've been talking about all month. The next question is it necessary? Is it yours to share whatever it is you need to share right now? Consider your words and what purpose they serve as you are sharing information. And then the final gate is it kind? And is it compassionate? And so and here's the deal. If you don't know, ask somebody. Our entire board of trustees was here yesterday working on that parking lot sale. They are well-versed in what's going on. You can ask any of our board of trustees, any of our ministers. They can help you to get some good information about what's going on. And it's so new that you might have to ask a couple of times, and that's cool. That's really cool. This month has, I say this often, but I'm always kind of amazed at how the monthly themes, the annual themes and monthly themes really lend themselves to where we're at. And so this annual theme we have is of rising higher and growing deeper. And the monthly theme is the flow of coming and going. I think there's a lot of coming and going right now. And then today is blossoming in the swaying. And I want you to remember, if I shared this with you at the beginning of March, this month we asked one of our Latin American ministers to write the themes. And so she wrote all the outlines in Spanish. And so when I looked at this blossoming in the swaying, and I looked at how it read in Spanish, Blanca Mieja is the person who wrote the outlines, it's flourish and idio en el balancio. And for me, that kind of reminds me, the flow of balance is what I kind of hear when I hear the Spanish translation of this. And it kind of reminds me of, grace in great change. Having that ability to be in grace and balance when things are shifting and swaying. And so this month, we're also keeping in mind some of our declarations and principles, eternality and immortality and continuity. Like, there's all kinds of things in the material plane that are changing all the time, but intrinsic to all life, there is some continuity, some immortality, something at the center that doesn't change. It is just the form that changes. The other two principles that we pulled forward to look at this month is the healing the sick and control of conditions through the power of this mind. And what that really means is how we hold things is how we'll experience them. We can control the experience we have by how we hold it, how we respond to it, how we move through it. And we can experience healing, even in the face of what looks like disharmony or dis-ease. And then finally, we are looking at this idea that everything we experience, the universal spirit, which is God, operates through universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we're surrounded by that creative mind. And it receives the direct impress of our thoughts. It hears us. It looks to us for guidance. We have agency in how we move through this material reality that we experience. And so I think all of those are great principles to help keep us grounded in midair, because that's kind of like what it might feel like to some of you, being grounded in midair. Like, we know who we are. We know that we are one big, beautiful spiritual family, always welcoming others into it, loving each other, telling each other, I got you, when somebody's a little nervous about change or what's shifting. When we go through our own personal difficulties, we scoop you up. And you can ask anybody here who's been through a challenge and been part of this community. I've witnessed that. I have witnessed how we scoop each other up and how we support each other as we move through change. And what's interesting is that not only are we going through change here in our community, but there's a lot of change happening in our nation, and there's a lot of change happening in the world. And so we need each other. We need each other, and we need to look beyond our own borders to how we can connect with others and how we can begin to have broaden our relationships with the world around us. And auspiciously, we're going through all of this during the season of Passover, during the season of Easter, and in the Muslim world, it is the end of Ramadan and the celebration. So we are, I think there's something to be said with and we just talked about it with the principle that, there's a movement of mind through our consciousness. And so global consciousness is on our side as we are moving through all this change. And so I was thinking about Passover. You all know the story of Passover, right? It's in the Zeitgeist, it's in the Bible, and and anybody who's Jewish, the story of Passover is when Moses brought the Israelites out of Egypt, right? And I'm sure there were people in that community who were all in. Yes, it's time to go. We're going to take ourselves out of this oppressive environment and we're going to go someplace new. I'm sure there were a lot of people who were really excited about it. And I bet there were people who were like, why you want to leave? It may not be bed of roses, but at least I got a roof over my head. Now, before you go too far with this metaphor, the Israelites did leave Egypt safely, and then they wandered in the desert for 40 years. We're not doing that. Just so we're clear, there will be no wandering for 40 years. That's not our plight. We are going to wander for a little bit. We are planning to be in transition for about 6 to 12 months while we find our permanent location. And we will wander a little bit, but we will wander together, and we will explore together, and we will explore with an open heart and an open mind. So part of me is really excited And then there's part of me who feels a little bit like I'm climbing a mountain, you know? Do you ever have to do a kind of a strenuous hike, right? What are you focused on? Your feet, right? You're focused on your feet. Where are you landing that next step? And where is that next step going? And so it might feel a little bit like that at first. We might have to focus on our feet for a little bit to watch as the ground moves beneath them. I was reminded of the first time, the one and only time I ever went overnight backpacking is in the Shenandoah area, and I went with a bunch of women, and I wanted to have this experience of backpacking, and I was so excited about it, and I got my backpack. It was like 30 or 40 pounds. It had my tent, my food, my water, everything I needed was on my back, and I was all caught up in trying to keep up with there was a crowd, there was a small group that was a little further ahead of me, and there was a group that was behind me, and I wanted to keep up with the cool kids who were first, and I wasn't paying attention, and I face planted. Because, when you have a backpack, your tipping point, just so you know, if you find yourself in this situation, your tipping point is really quick. All that weight, boom. They, both groups came and scooped me up and brought me to the campsite, and, I broke my glasses, and I had a big old bruise on my face, and we camped out overnight, and the next morning we got out of our tents, and nobody said a word, and we walked to the edge of the bluff and watched the sun come up in the middle of the wilderness. It had been worth it. Had been worth it to go into the wilderness so I could have that was felt like Sunday church, and looking out over the Potomac Valley in the Shenandoah National Park. And then it came time to leave, so I had to pack everything up. I put my backpack on. I got a big old swollen face. My glasses are taped together with twigs and string. And I put that weight on my back. And then that's when I really understood the importance of watching every step I took and paying attention to where I stepped. And it felt arduous. And when we reached the end of the trailhead and back to our cars, I remember, putting down my backpack and just laying on the ground and feeling the release of making it through that journey. And I share that story with you because I'm sure that at some energetic level, you're going to be experiencing some of that. You're going to experience the not paying attention and doing something that you might feel a little silly about. You might find yourself with the euphoria of the moment of discovering something new. And then there's the trudging to get from one place to another. Like, all of that is part of the journey. All of that is about blossoming in the sway, continuing to find our balance as we move through this change. Are you up for it? Yeah. Okay. I got you, right? That's our term, right? When somebody's a little flustered or, oh my God, what are they going to do? You just let them know, I got you. We're all going together. And we're all going to be on this adventure together. And so this morning, what we want to do for you is, our practitioners are in the building in full force, and so I want to invite our practitioners to stand up. And we are doing a prayer wall. And so this is your opportunity to bring anything, any concerns, you feel like you're swaying a little too much with the change, whether it's what's going on in our community or whether it's what's going on in the world, you can come up and get a prayer. And so I'm going to invite the ministers and practitioners all to stand up. If you're not familiar with this practice, this is an opportunity for you to come forward and to get a prayer treatment. And these individuals have been trained and licensed and are practiced in our form of affirmative prayer. So I'm going to invite you to come up and partake of this healing, balancing, grounding practice of prayer. And come up when you're ready and see any one of our practitioners. hope I'm muted. Yeah, I am.
I think I need not even a constant warning for the world, and I try not to listen to the news, but also it kind of puts me in touch with my energy, which I've never really focused a lot on, but it seems to me like the period at the end of the sentence that has a slight, like a
Little mortality.
not a depressed person, maybe a little depression,
I'm not muted.
slight little bit of depression creeping in,
Yeah.
which is normal, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It just
Well, let's
makes-
pray.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. sit down. You can sit. You can sit down. You can sit down. You can sit down. Sit down. Thank you. So, thank you so much for that opportunity for let us pray with you, to hold you up, to thank you so much for giving us that beautiful music in the background. This is our opportunity. This is what we're up to. We are moving through change together. We have got you. We've got each other. And as we go through this, remember those 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And as we move through this mindfully, I know that we have great adventures before us. Thank you so much.